Ziz wants to know, aside from the obvious answer, the original Star Wars trilogy, what other era of ILM's history do you wish you could have been a part of? Dude, Close Encounters. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I love that movie. That movie holds a really, really, really important special place in my heart in science fiction. It's one of my all-time favorite Spielberg movies. I actually watched the opening of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Includes a sequence in an air traffic control tower with a pilot seeing something he can't explain and the air traffic controllers talking to him about it. I watched that opening sequence probably once a year. Like at least once a year, I just need to see that. And there's this really great tradition in film of sequences of characters that don't matter to the plot, involving you in the plot in a really abiding way. And I think the most classic example of this are the silhouetted reporters from Citizen Kane. You never see any of their faces, but they discuss, and they're the Greek chorus for that movie through the whole thing. And I think of the air traffic controllers from Close Encounters as a similar magnificent construction of a Greek chorus just showing up to highlight an episode for us and set a tone. The reason I get excited about it from an ILM perspective is there's so many beautiful practical effects in that. Like when the mothership comes down the first time, you're looking at the middle American farmland, and these clouds are billowing out at this level above the farmlands. And it's like looking at a thunderhead, right? It's like you see this division in the sky. And the way they did that at ILM was they were doing fish tank clouds, which is a classic way of doing clouds where you inject ink, colored inks into water. But they had added this wrinkle, and I don't know if they invented this, of using fresh and salt water. So they had a fish tank where some of the water was fresh and some of it was salt. And because of that, you end up with a bifurcated layer of two different densities. And when you inject the ink, it sits on that density layer and looks like cloud cover. That kind of problem solving was like, it's one of the reasons I sought out special effects, was learning about that kind of cloud tank stuff. I also think that the mothership from Close Encounters is among the greatest spaceships ever built. I include the Millennium Falcon and E.T.'s mothership in that list. The mothership from Close Encounters, which is, I believe, at the Smithsonian Institution at the Udvar Hazy Museum out by the airport. Close Encounters, man. I love those pictures of Greg Gian working on that turn on the highway, just giant Greg, like putting little bits of like brush in at the side of the road. This is the late 70s. So they don't even know what they're making in a certain way. Like this is when George is like, now I have a special effects company. Hey, special effects company. When my friends call, you have to make stuff for them. And like Spielberg calls, and they're like, okay, we're gonna make Steven Spielberg's movie. Like, that just sounds freaking thrilling. And like sitting in Lauren Peterson's office, having him tell me about what it's like to sit in that office with like a 30-year-old Steven Spielberg and talk about how to make the Poltergeist house disappear. It sounds like that would be a fun alternate timeline to have experienced, in my opinion. Of all the Farrell's Props says, of all the prequel episode lightsabers, which one or ones are your favorite? Mace Windu's has always been a favorite of yours. I have never had a taste for Mace Windu's lightsaber. I don't mean to poop on your choice. I probably didn't even need to express my opinion on that one. I love how different it is. I love that it's purple. My favorite prequel lightsaber, unequivocally, okay, I have two. I like Obi-Wan. I like Ewan McGregor's lightsaber. I think that's a beautiful design. I think it's gorgeous. And it turns out that the first one of those I ever bought was like handmade by Ryan Nagata. How about that? Yeah, like hand filed. So I love Obi-Wan's prequel lightsaber. But my favorite, like way above that even, Dooku's, Count Dooku's. I love Count Dooku's lightsaber. I love that it's got a bend in it. I love that Star Wars got Christopher Lee to come and show his awesomeness. The only man in Star Wars or Lord of the Rings who actually has stabbed someone with a sword. I believe that's true. Yeah, Count Dooku's lightsaber. I absolutely love it. I have a Master Replicas version of Count Dooku's lightsaber, and I'm missing one triangle. Excuse me, I'm missing one triangle of the rubber on the handle. At some point, I will get around to replacing that. Katie Hampton says, I did the thing last year and started my creative business. Congratulations. Looking at 2024 on paper is a total failure, but I don't care. I'm energized that there was progress. Dude, that's super awesome. Can us makers get a 2025 pep talk? Okay, here's the thing. You started your own creative business. That's amazing. Even if the thing you're building fails utterly, the experience you're getting doing it is completely invaluable to your future. It's going to give you perspective and lessons and institutional knowledge. I say this as someone who has a bag company that doesn't make me nearly any money, but it has been so educational in terms of manufacturing, in terms of public outreach, in terms of what drives sales, what gets people jazzed, what do people want. I suspect in my future there will be deals I do with companies about making stuff in conjunction with them. Having my own manufacturing business for the last 8 years, 7.5 years, gives me a huge leg up on what it means to talk to those companies about these collaborations, because I understand much more deeply about supply chains and international shipping and all the things and fulfillment. Oh my God, fulfillment. You say, can us makers get a 2025 pep talk? The thing I'm going to say is, like I said, even if it fails utterly, the institutional knowledge you get pays you back in spades. The other thing I'm going to say is that it's your business. And you get to make the decisions about what's important to that. There's this moment a couple of years ago where I had a family member in trouble and I had to go help them out. And it was during a busy time and it was very intense. And yet to deal with the situation, I was able to adjust my schedule and push everything we had on my calendar forward by 10 days. And I was able to do that and then park my worry about that while I concentrated on this important family deal. And I felt so lucky to be able to do that. To have just to have control over your own parameter is, like, to me, the goal. Even if it's not making you a ton of dough. Dude, I'm so excited that you did it and you decided to do it, and that you look at maybe a loss on paper, but still feel like you made progress. Hold on to that. Keep asking yourself about what's important to you, and keep asking yourself what's next. And also, the last thing I would say is this phrase I get a lot out of, and I've talked about this before. What if I could wave a magic wand? For me, that's a very freeing phrase because it's unattached to any reality. It's just like if a genie showed up and I could make this any way I want. And then I have a first thought, best thought that's usually quite instructive to me about that. Good luck, Katie. Really, seriously, that is so exciting. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I wanted to briefly mention that you could become a tested member. I know, everybody is competing for you to become a member of their thing. What I want to express to you is that the Tested membership has become such an important part of the Tested family. We get tremendous feedback from the Tested members, and they expand the stories that we can tell and the things that we have access to. And you can become a part of it right now by clicking on the link below. See you in the chat.